The version of Logan's Run you know almost never got made. A budget that tripled, a key cast member stolen by Alfred Hitchcock, deleted footage lost forever in a studio purge, a real location that killed 4 people after production wrapped, and a film that quietly became the blueprint for every dystopian story that came after it. 1. The novel killed everyone at 21. Most people assume the film and the book are essentially the same story. They aren't. William F. Nolan and George Clayton Johnson published the original Logan's Run novel in 1967. In that version, the death age was 21, not 30. The story was born directly from the counterculture tensions of the mid-1960s, when youth culture was reshaping society and the generation gap had never felt wider.
All right, children. Playtime's over.
The premise asked a simple, savage question. What if the young actually got to run everything, completely? Screenwriter David Zella Goodman raised the age to 30 for the film. The change was practical. It made the lead actors' actual ages plausible, but it also subtly shifted the entire meaning of the premise. 2. The budget tripled before a frame was shot. MGM went into Logan's Run expecting to spend $3 million, a modest figure. Manageable. By the time production wrapped, the bill had reached $9 million, 3 times the original estimate, and the most expensive film MGM had produced in 10 years. The majority of that money went into the sets. Stage 15 at MGM, the largest soundstage in the world at the time, housed Sandman headquarters and the new U-Shop. Stage 30 contained the ice caverns and the entire carousel arena. Every dollar showed on screen. The film was considered a financial gamble of significant proportions. It paid off. In its first 5 days of release, it grossed $2.5 million. 3. Hitchcock stole. One of the leads. The original cast for Logan's Run was Michael York, Jenny Agutter, and William Devane. Devane was set to play Francis, Logan's Sandman partner who becomes his pursuer. Then Alfred Hitchcock called. He needed Devane to replace actor Roy Thinnis in Family Plot, his final film. Hitchcock's request was not something you declined. Devane walked. The role went to Richard Jordan, best known at the time for his television work and supporting film roles. Jordan delivered one of the film's strongest performances. But for a significant period of pre-production, Francis Seven was going to be played by someone else entirely. 4. Texas. Was the 23rd century finding locations that could convincingly double for a domed city of the future was not a simple problem. The production found the answer in Texas. The Dallas Market Center served as the film's grand hall, filled with hundreds of local Texans as extras. The Fort Worth Water Gardens provided the dramatic waterfall sequence. The Hyatt Regency Hotel in Houston contributed its sweeping interior architecture. Even the then governor of Texas, Dolph Briscoe, turned up on set one day to observe filming. Roger Ebert noticed immediately. His review pointed out that the future city looked exactly like modern buildings in Texas. Because it was. The joke landed. But the locations worked better than any set could have. 5. The Water Gardens killed 4 people. The Fort Worth Water Gardens sequence, where Logan and Jessica dive into a pool to escape back into the dome, was filmed in the active pool of the complex, which at the time was 9 feet deep. The location became one of the film's most visually striking moments. In 2004, 28 years after production wrapped, the same pool claimed 4 lives when visitors fell into it and drowned. The active pool area was permanently closed following the incident. The waterfall steps that Logan and Jessica leap into in the film were sealed off and have not been accessible to the public since. 6. Michael York was the first film star filmed as a hologram. The interrogation sequence, in which Logan's brain is fragmented into 6 separate floating images during questioning by the city's central computer, required a technique that had never been applied to a film actor before. Michael York traveled to the Multiplex Company laboratories in San Francisco, where he became the first film star in history to be filmed using laser holography. The process produced color human images that appeared to float in midair and move independently of one another. York performed 7 versions of himself simultaneously. Each image answered separate questions. The result was genuinely unlike anything audiences had seen in a cinema before, and it required York to perform in a way no actor had previously been asked to. 7. The robot actor couldn't get up if he fell over the character of Box, the malfunctioning robot encountered in the ice caverns, was both voiced and physically performed on set by Roscoe Lee Brown. The Box costume was an elaborate full-body construction. It looked extraordinary on screen. It was also completely unmanageable in one critical respect. The suit was so rigid and awkwardly weighted that if Brown fell over while wearing it, he could not right himself. He was physically unable to get back up without outside help. The entire ice cavern sequence had to be choreographed around that limitation. Every movement Brown made was calculated to ensure he never ended up on the floor. Because if he did, production would stop until crew members could lift the costume back upright. 8. The carousel was the hardest shot in the film visual effects supervisors L. B. Abbott and Glenn Robinson considered the carousel sequence the single most technically demanding challenge in the entire production. The sequence required depicting dozens of people levitating, rising through the air during the ritual, without any visible means of support. The solution was hidden wires, rigged at angles that kept them out of frame, supporting stunt performers throughout the sequence. The arena was filled with 500 extras cheering each apparent renewal. Every carousel performer was a stunt person. The combination of wire work, lighting, and crowd choreography consumed more production time and resources than any other single sequence in the film. The finished effect won Logan's Run a Special Academy Award for visual effects. 9. The score was designed to change as you moved. Jerry Goldsmith's approach to the Logan's Run score was built around a single, deliberate structural idea. Inside the city, the orchestra was stripped back to strings, keyboards, and electronic instruments only. Cold, precise, controlled. The moment characters crossed to the outside world, the full orchestra came in. Brass, woodwinds, everything. Warm, expansive, alive. The score was literally designed to sound different depending on where the characters were. It was a musical map of the film's central argument: that the world inside the dome was diminished, and that the world outside it was real. Goldsmith embedded the thematic point into the instrumentation itself, invisibly, so the audience felt it without being told. 10. It was the first film with Dolby Stereo on 70mm Logan's Run, holds a technical distinction that has nothing to do with its story or its effects work. It was the first film in history to use Dolby Stereo on 70mm prints. That combination of format and audio technology set a new standard for how big-budget cinema could sound in theaters. The clarity and spatial quality of the audio on the 70mm release was unlike anything audiences had experienced in a science fiction film before. The technical achievement was overshadowed almost immediately by Star Wars the following year, which used Dolby in a way that redefined audience expectations entirely. But Logan's Run got there first. 11. The lost footage was destroyed in a studio purge. Several sequences were cut from the finished film before release. A longer ice cavern scene, a drug-themed sequence in a shop called Hallucimil, an extended Love Zone sequence, a solo Francis Hunt that opened the film. Some of this footage appeared as extras on the 1998 DVD release. The rest no longer exists. The missing material was destroyed in what is now referred to as the MGM Purge, the period when studio owner Kirk Kerkorian systematically sold off or discarded vast portions of the studio's archives. What he couldn't sell, he threw out. Decades of film history went with it. The Logan's Run footage was among the losses. The shooting scripts survive. The footage does not. 12. The costumes were supposed to be more revealing. The costume designs for the film's utopian society were originally conceived to be significantly more exposing than what ended up on screen. The problem was not censorship at the design stage. It was economics. Every additional area of exposed skin required makeup to be applied and maintained throughout filming. More revealing costumes meant more makeup artists, more time in the makeup chair each morning, and more touch-up work between takes. The cost of covering that much skin with acceptable makeup for a sustained film production was prohibitive. The costumes were revised upward to cover more of the cast. The decision was entirely financial. The irony of a future society defined by physical freedom having more covered bodies than originally intended was entirely accidental. 13. Farrah Fawcett. Had 3 minutes of screen time and top billing, Farrah Fawcett Majors, credited under her married name at the time, played a minor supporting role in Logan's run. Her character, a hairdresser in the New You shop, appears briefly and has minimal dialogue. She received prominent billing above the title anyway. By the time the film was in post-production, Fawcett had become one of the most recognizable faces in America through Charlie's Angels and the famous red swimsuit poster that sold an estimated 12 million copies. Paramount recognized the marketing value and pushed her credit accordingly. Her name on the poster drew audiences who saw her for approximately 3 minutes in the finished film. 14. The remake has been stuck in development for 30 years. Logan's Run has been in various stages of remake development since 1994. It has accumulated a remarkable list of names without ever getting made. Directors attached at different points have included Bryan Singer, Joseph Kosinski, Carl Eric Rinch, Nicholas Winding Refn, and Simon Kinberg. Screenwriters who have delivered drafts include Christopher McQuarrie and Alex Garland. At one point, a female-led version was considered, following the success of The Hunger Games and Divergent, both of which owe a significant creative debt to Logan's Run in the first place. Producer Joel Silver resigned from his own production company in 2019. Industry observers largely concluded the remake was dead. As of now, it remains unproduced. 15. The TV series cost more than the film. The film's success with young audiences was striking enough that CBS and MGM Television moved quickly to develop a television adaptation. The rights deal alone cost $9 million, equal to the entire production budget of the original film. The series starred Gregory Harrison and Heather Menzies, launched in September 1977, and ran for exactly 14 episodes before being canceled. D.C. Fontana, who had taken Leonard Nimoy's call about Star Trek years earlier, served as story editor and brought in multiple Star Trek writers. None of it was enough. The show couldn't sustain its premise across weekly television. It was gone before the end of its first season, leaving the rights deal as one of the most expensive single-season cancellations in 1970s. Television history. 16. It built the blueprint everyone else used. Logan's Run arrived 1 year before Star Wars. What came after Star Wars reshaped science fiction so completely that everything before it can feel like prehistory. But look at what came after Logan's Run specifically. And the lineage is impossible to ignore. The Hunger Games, Divergent, The Maze Runner, Battle Royale, The Giver. Every story built around a society that sacrifices its young, a protagonist who breaks from the system, and a world outside the walls that nobody was supposed to know about. All of them trace back here. The dystopian young adult genre that dominated cinema for a decade in the 2000s was built on foundations that Logan's Run laid in 1976. The film didn't just predict the future. It invented one that writers have been borrowing ever since. A budget that tripled, a location that later killed people, an actor stolen by Hitchcock, and an archive of deleted footage that a studio owner threw in the bin. Logan's Run survived all of it, and then quietly became the template for the next 50 years of dystopian storytelling. Drop the fact that hit hardest in the comments and subscribe. The next story is already waiting.